Can you write a great book of fiction without empathy? Short answer, no. If you don't care about people, why bother writing about them? If you can't understand feelings, I'm talking about feelings, how could you begin to understand characters and how they fit into and shape a story? Hello and welcome back to The Writing Journey. I'm Ellen Byerrum, a mystery author, playwright, and dabbler in various forms of writing. I'm also a former reporter, and now I'm happy to go on this journey with you. I created the Crime of Fashion mysteries and now the Art Deco mysteries. I love thrillers, short stories, novellas, and children's books. And sometimes I like to offer tips, commentary on writing, and sometimes business gossip. If that sounds good to you, follow along, give it a like, and please subscribe. I didn't want to say it, but YouTube will file this under forgotten if you don't. If you will see this on YouTube and want to know more about me and my books, I'll leave some links in the description box below. I will share good news about my next book soon, but now let's talk about feelings, about writing, about empathy, and how it is vital for our novels. As a caveat, perhaps there are some dry, fact-based science or math books that don't require empathy, but then they don't have much of a plot, do they? Don't tell me if I'm wrong. If you're writing about characters, sure, some of them can lack empathy. They can be villains, but the author does not. The author must have empathy. And as an example of people who don't, Elon Musk. He clearly has very little understanding of people and said he believes empathy is a weakness. Another denier of empathy recently said it was a made-up New Age term and does a lot of damage. Talk about New Age nonsense. According to Psychology Today, the term was coined in 1908, not exactly New Age, and referred to projecting one's own imagined feelings and movements into objects, perhaps like this pumpkin. The term gained traction through the early part of the 20th century, and Psychology Today said, if empathy originally had an aesthetic meaning, American psychologists began to extend its scope to include the understanding of other people. So, what is a great book or a great writer? In my opinion, it is someone who makes you think about and feel the story. A great writer is empathetic and can crawl inside the characters, all the characters, and understand their motivations, their desires, who they love and who they hate. As they key words into the computer or put them pen to paper, writers live their stories, at least in their imaginations. Can you laugh and cry along with the characters? Of course, and it's handy to remember, if there are no tears in the writer, there are no tears in the reader. People without empathy do not understand what they lack. They may not know precisely what is missing in them, but maybe they have an inkling. Maybe they think empathy is a surplus of feelings and is like too much whipped cream on a dessert. But I'll never know. My feelings come with lots of whipped cream. For many people, writing is a craft, a job. For others, it is an art, something that lives on and continues to inspire long after they are gone. We don't generally write with that in mind, however. Art is not simply producing 300 pages of text or hanging something on the wall. Take Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, for example. It is the tale of a man imprisoned for stealing a loaf of bread to feed his family, spending years jailed, an escapee, more jail time, and being relentlessly pursued by police officer Jarvet, someone who will never understand Jean Valjean. The 1,000-plus page novel that tells the tale of Jean Valjean, and a whole lot of other things, is set against the backdrop of troubled times in France, culminating in the June Rebellion, also known as the Paris Uprising of 1832. It's very complicated, and the casualties depicted in the movie are heartbreaking, and we could assume all was lost. Who would even remember that little battle? But it lives on in Victor Hugo's story and the music we know in the valor of people. It lives on to inspire again. Les Miserables was filmed in many incarnations before it hit the stage as a musical, with music by Claude Michel Schomburg, lyrics by Alain Boublil and Jean-Marc Natel. I hope I didn't slaughter those. Les Miserables is a worldwide phenomenon that is still produced and celebrated, even for people who fail to understand its message. They are mocked by it and they don't even know it. That's power, and that is a whole lot of empathy. Those who have no empathy can provide us with the villains and monsters in our books and stories and our plays, in our imaginations. Perhaps no one can believe how empty and evil they are. Yet they too might make unforgettable characters, even as they are regrettable human beings. Who are today's monsters and villains that we can use? Well, there's the orange spirochete and his henchman, the bald-headed thumb. And I like to think the creators of Project 2025 are first monsters. Second, sadists or sociopaths who are trying to repress everyone, women, children, and writers. They are the book banners who are never heroes of history. They are small-minded and afraid of what they don't understand. They don't understand people. They even want to take the vote away from women, and they certainly don't want us to write books. I've been writing a book set in the 1930s, just after Prohibition was repealed. And if you learn anything from Prohibition, it's that repression creates rebellion and lawlessness. Everybody wanted to drink alcohol once they took it away. Speakeasies became popular, and it led to all sorts of enjoyment for regular people and a lot of crimes. And the others? The Project 2025ers? It can be difficult to feel empathy for these people who have none. However, we can feel for the people they might have been. The honor that has been lost has never been worn. The opportunities they have spurned. But for the rest of us, we have books to write and people to see. We can embrace empathy, at least for the people in our books, if not in our lives. That's all I have for now. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, go ahead and use all the empathy you have and spill it out on that page. Bye.